Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Closing Trades on ET Now. I'm Anisha Jain. With me is Aisha Faridi, and the Friday evening or afternoon rather is seeing all right because it's seeming all right because we have scaled 19,500 as far as Nifty is concerned. Sensex is comfortably 500 points higher, so it looks like a good setup at this point of time. But the only thing that we want to talk about is either Nifty IT, which is skyrocketing, or the Chandrayaan, which is hopefully going to skyrocket in the next 4.5 minutes. But as far as IT is concerned, it's the biggest single session gain that we have seen on that index in 8 months. It's the top sectoral gainer, only not for today, but for the week as well. And it's 15% higher than the lows that we had seen in the month of March. So quite a bit of momentum, and the large part of the rally, of course, has happened over the last couple of days itself. Today, that index is high by a good 4 percentage point. The top 5 gainers at the index level are all from the IT pack, right from a Tech Mahindra to a TCS to an HCL, LTI-93. They're all gaining traction as we speak. So that's the biggest cue to watch out for. And if IT is doing better, of course, banks are underperforming. They have to even it out, right? So banks are underperforming, and the broader markets hold on to gains as well for now. But Aisha, it continues to be about that big moment around the mission moon Chandrayaan, 3.5 minutes.
It is all about that. My eyes are only stuck on that counter. 3 minutes, 50 odd seconds left to go. But just very quickly, what else is happening in the markets? Like Anisha said, it's really all about IT, right? That's where all the buzz is, and irrespective of what the brokerage fraternity, what the market may feel about earnings, the markets are willing to give them that benefit of doubt, hoping that this perhaps could be a quarter where the worst could have bottomed out. But that said, besides IT, also there are a handful of movers. There's the Hero MotoCorp, a Tata Consumer, Eicher Motors has recovered a good 3% right now. That I would say is a meaningful move today. Tata Steel, Divi's Labs. Look at RBL Bank. That's on a tear right now. 5.5% higher for RBL Bank. So that's a big buzzer in trade as we speak. 200 plus levels on RBL. 7.5% higher in the cash markets. And India Mart as well as Intellect. Intellect I may still skip out because that's largely part of the IT gamut. But India Mart has now shot up a good 5.5% as we speak right now. But yes, the market has its fair share of losers as well. So important to highlight that. REC, HDFC Life, Interglobe Aviation, M&M Finance, these are all the laggards. But JMR Power, that's the one which is the newsmaker this afternoon. The order to implement smart metering project, that's really brought about a fair amount of buoyancy in the stock, was a gap up start, has managed to pretty much maintain its gains about 9% higher, as is the case with JBM Auto after that 5,000 EV bus order that they bagged. And then MapMy India, we spoke with the management earlier today. They've been buzzing in trade. The government is expected to hand over services now to private players, the exemption on GST for satellite launch services, many tailwinds for this sector where MapMy India is largely the only player, pretty much a monopoly there within the domestic segment. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But 1 minute to go, Anisha.
And I hope if we can pull up at least it on the side TV or somewhere on the screen, the kind of preparations that we are seeing there, because trust me, all eyes are glued as far as that mission is concerned. And that, of course, has had ramifications in the stock market as well. MapMy India is one of the instances where they have partnered with ISRO. There are a lot of other defense and space plays as well. So we're watching out for all of that. In fact, my colleague Sharad had culled out that entire data as to what the entire, exposure has been of a lot of these listed equities to the space. So yes, lot really lined up as far as that is concerned. But quickly, before we see whether that skyrocketing happens or not, let me just welcome on Kunal as well. Kunal, quickly, a word on the market itself, what your view is?
I think it's a phenomenal up for the IT index, and I think that's one of the major reasons why you're seeing two stark differences, the Nifty up and the Bank Nifty showing underperformance. So I think it's been a phenomenal move for the IT index. Hands down, I think TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, Wipro, all of these are standing out. So I think the mood of the markets right now is tilted towards just one sector, which is IT. And most of the other stocks are playing a bit of a catch-up. Now, the other sector which I would also keep an eye on would be the auto index. And I would believe that the likes of Hero MotoCorp, Maruti, Bajaj Auto, etc., they should also make a very strong comeback, possibly in the next 1 week.
Okay, so that's the take coming in, and those are the live visuals for you, counting down to the last 1 minute. All hopes pinned as far as that particular, mission is concerned, because Chandrayaan 1 and 2 have been quite successful. We have seen that the impact on the overall space technology in India has been quite robust. So the last 45 seconds is what we are counting down to. It's mission moon for India. It's the envy of what is happening across the world as well, because the Indian space community has done a lot better versus a lot of other developed countries as well. And that's what you have on the screen, the Chandrayaan 3 all set for the launch.
Minus 20 seconds. Minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LVM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft.
P2 tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का। यह भीमकाय रॉकेट आसमान को चीरते हुए अपनी भयानक दहाड़ से चारों ओर कंपन उत्पन्न कर रहा है। इसे हम यहाँ महसूस कर सकते हैं, और यही दहाड़ है जो वैज्ञानिकों को रोमांचित करती है। LVM-3 के उत्थापन के साथ ही हमारे अंतरिक्ष यान चंद्रयान 3 की चंद्रमा की यात्रा प्रारंभ हो चुकी है।
As the rocket is soaring through the clear skies, every second moving closer to the accomplishment of the most important milestone in its mission to moon. Every Indian witnessing the launch live is content with the feeling of watching history in the making.
चंद्रमा की सतह पर अपना छाप छोड़ने के लिए चंद्रयान 3 अपने मिशन को पूरा करने निकल चुका है। वर्तमान में दोनों S-200 स्टेप ऑन बूस्टर सामान निष्पादन करते हुए अपनी निर्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं।
The S-200 motors thrusting simultaneously, generating a peak thrust of close to 6,000 kilonewtons in vacuum. They are made of HTPV-based solid propellant. 204.5 tons in each strap-on. Close to 2 tons of propellant being burnt each second.
S-200 स्टेप ऑन बूस्टर्स का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 126 सेकंड का है, और अभी अभी घोषणा की गई L110 स्टेज का भी प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है।
Apart from the strap-ons, the core stage has also commenced its operation. This stage, based on combination
200 stages are separated.
of hypergolic earth storable liquid propellants UH-25 and N2O4. Now the S-200s have been separated.
घटनाक्रम के अनुसार इस यान से S-200 स्टेप ऑन बूस्टर्स को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है। यह काम सेपरेशन मोटर्स की मदद से किया जाता है। इसके बाद L110 तरल नोदक पर आधारित और विकास इंजन के साथ यह चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। अभियान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है।
L110 stage performance normal.
The trajectory of launch vehicle is closely following the prediction.
Payload fairing separated.
जी हाँ, पेलोड फेयरिंग को पृथक कर दिया गया है यान से, क्योंकि यान अब 114.8 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है। इस चरण का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकेंड होता है, और इस दौरान यह करीब 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणुद उत्पन्न करता है।
We are 220 seconds past the launch time. Current altitude is 135 kilometers. In the 200 seconds of its operation, the L110 stage carries the rocket up to 175.5 kilometers altitude and imparts a relative velocity of 4.18 kilometers per second, that is 250 kilometers every minute.
L110 stage performance normal.
Why 30 seconds?
Okay, so those were the live visuals. At least the launch has been deemed a success. That was quite a sight. You had the school kids also glued to the screen and watching those events live. And we definitely had goosebumps, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no denying that. And I remember the Chandrayaan-2 mission as well. And it was just at the brink of a success. And, then they lost connection with the rover. So, yes, so much anticipation around it. And you know what intrigues me? I was just like going through some of the tweets. I mean, imagine a movie like Adipurush, right?
Yeah.
The recent South Indian blockbuster. The budget for that movie was 700 crore rupees. And can you guess the budget for Chandrayaan-3?
I'm guessing it should be thousands of crores at least.
615 crores.
It's less than a movie budget?
Yes.
Oh my God. So you can reach space in the amount that you spend to make a movie?
And still not know whether it's going to be a success.
But they have in the past, right? So, I mean, that's quite a revelation if it's just 650 crores.
And I think that is what is always set aside, besides, of course, the success and the might that goes behind it, Indian space research as to how cost-effective it has been. But yeah, shall we take it across to Sharad and get a market linkage as well to it? So let's take it across to him and find out whether or not there are any listed companies which are involved in the mission this time. Sharad?
Well, yes, the mission Moon is there and Chandrayaan-3's launch is expected today. Now, the soft landing on Moon would be there. And of course, this feat has been achieved by only 3 countries or 3 nations, US, China and erstwhile Soviet Union. And rover will be actually going after exploring the lunar surface as well as the experiments. But now let's look at which are the important stocks which should be in focus, and of course the stocks which are there in the Indian Space Association members. Big names, L&T is there, MapMyIndia, Nelco, Bharti Airtel, and even from the small cap space we are having Walchand Industries. But there are certain stocks which have actually used components they have given for this mission, and L&T is one of the most important ones. They are having roughly a 5-decade experience and partnership with ISRO, and they had actually supplied subsystems as well as mission tracking. For MTAR Tech also core parts have been given in the last mission. This is for the both segments, engines as well as pumps. In the small cap sales, we have Centum Electronics. They have roughly made 300 to 500 components for the Indian space missions. So that is a very important thing. Apart from this, even HAL and Sundaram Fasteners, these two are the also stocks which have actually contributed massively when it comes to providing components on various previous launches for Chandrayaan missions.
Thanks, Sharad, for that. But let's see what the other things are that are skyrocketing, and IT definitely deserves mention. Let's pull up, if we can, the comparison of the 3 IT companies that have reported numbers so far. Because if you look at the details coming in for the IT sector, it's not been that impressive. It's been a flat to a downtick performance. Let's pull up, if we can, the comparison of the 3 companies, please, that have reported numbers. Because overall, if you look at the growth of the 3 companies, it's been flat to negative. The headcount addition too has been lower for at least HCL Tech as well as Wipro. In fact, Wipro had a reduction of almost 9,000 when it comes to the headcount. And if you look at the other internals as well, the margins were on the softer side. The deal wins at least have been strong this time around as well. So that's been positive. But talking about the other tailwinds as well as the headwinds which are there for the sector, just wanted to point out in terms of the demand environment, none of the companies are calling it worsening at least. So they're saying it's rather status quo. There's no worsening of demand. There's also this expectation that in the second half of the year, there will be a bit of recovery, and that is what the street is banking on. And that's why you have all the stocks in focus. The global techs have been rallying quite a bit as well. That's had a rub-off impact back home. So that's something we're watching out for. And the valuations, of course, of all the IT companies have become rather reasonable. In terms of the headwinds, none of the IT companies are committing to a recovery in the second half. They are saying there's no recovery in demand either. There has been hiring which has been weak, as we talked about, and the margins too are expected to contract. So for now, it's even Steven as far as the IT sector is concerned, but the street is pricing in that perhaps the worst is over, and that's why we are seeing a recovery. If we have Naresh with us, let's go across to him to get a sense as far as the overall market technicals are concerned and IT sector specifically. Kunal, actually, let me throw that question to you. In terms of the IT sector, how is it placed?
Well, I would be very bullish on the IT stocks. And Anisha, I think we flagged off this pre-results that, whenever the results come out for these IT stocks, large cap names, post that one has to look out for getting into a buy zone for these IT names, whether it's 2% up, 2% down for these stocks. That is but unrealistic because when these stocks they get into a breakout mode, there are multiple reasons for this breakout. It started off with short covering for large cap IT names. Specifically, the data yesterday indicated that the likes of HCL Tech, TCS, they had shown a strong blend of short covering for themselves. Today, right from the start, there was additional amount of short covering which has happened. And remember that we are talking about these IT stocks at a point when these stocks have been huge underperformers for quarters. I think for the last 3 or 4 quarters on a trot, which means that the extent of short built up could be huge into these kind of names. So this may not just be a very short-lived kind of a rally. Even if it goes into a short covering spree, I believe at least another 1 or 2 weeks of rally for these IT stocks is something which we can expect from here on. So would be bullish on the IT space overall, even from a near-term play.
Okay, bullish on IT. We'll do one thing. We'll quickly take a small break on the show, but don't go anywhere. Lots lined up when we come back.
Mom, I'll be late tonight as well.
You work too hard. Work smart like me.
Why? Won a lottery, is it?
You can say so. In 3 years, my money will double. I'm investing in a great scheme in the share market. High returns guaranteed.
Your high returns aren't Karan Arjun for them to definitely come to you.
Meaning?
Dad, there's risk involved in the share market. Nobody can promise guaranteed high returns. It's illegal to do so.
Really?
Yeah. And by the way, being greedy is not smart.
Do you think tourism has hit a saturation spree or are the best years yet to come?
कि एक नियंत्रित दौर आज भी जो है पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में लेकर जो है वो आना बाकी है उसके लिए हम सब लोगों को जो है उत्साहित होकर हम लोगों को देखना चाहिए
Which of these sub-segments of the market do you see gaining the most traction, sir, going forward?
I'm building a new hotel. It's the Fairmont in Sisarma. I mean, there are around 15 leopards in the surroundings right there. So I think the leopard safari in the whole Rajasthan and this belt would really take off at an immense level.
Presented by IDFC First Bank, always you first.
Get ready for India's largest B2B apparel trade show. The 77th National Garment Fair, organized by the Clothing Manufacturers Association of India, with over 1,300 brands showcasing their latest festive collections. Don't miss it. Register now.
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज, देश का बेहतरीन हिंदी न्यूज चैनल
टाइम्स नाउ नव भारत आपको दे रहा है सुनहरा मौका हर रोज सोने के सिक्के और लाखों के आकर्षक इनाम जीतने का।
देखेगा नव भारत, जीतेगा भारत कॉन्टेस्ट में हिस्सा लेने के लिए टीवी पर दिए गए नंबर पर मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए।
आसान से सवालों के जवाब देकर आप जीत सकते हैं आकर्षक इनाम हर दिन।
देखो, खेलो, जीतो, टाइम्स नाउ नव भारत पर।
Wow, this influencer has 1 million followers. Yes, that's why I'm thinking to invest my money based on his tips.
Does having more followers guarantee good financial advice?
But he provides it for free.
Just think, could there be some other benefit behind the free advice? All that glitters is not gold.
That's a valid point.
Instead of the number of followers, focus on qualifications. Seek advice only from SEBI registered investment advisors.
Mom, I'll be late tonight as well.
You work too hard. Work smart like me.
Why? Won a lottery, is it?
You can say so. In 3 years, my money will double. I'm investing in a great scheme in the share market. High returns guaranteed.
Your high returns aren't Karan Arjun for them to definitely come to you.
Meaning?
Dad, there's risk involved in the share market. Nobody can promise guaranteed high returns. It's illegal to do so.
Really?
Yeah. And by the way, being greedy is not smart.
My journey of insurance and investments began at the same time when I invested in LIC SEEP. In this fast-moving world, SEEP can balance your funds with security and growth. SEEP will take care of the ups and downs of the market and will give you fruitful results so that you enjoy the ride. And when SEEP is with you, you can soar high.
LIC's unit-linked insurance plan SEEP offers savings and protection so that you can soar high in your life. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
India Bulls Housing Finance Limited announces a public issue of secured redeemable NCDs offering coupon rate of up to 10.15% per annum and additional incentive of 0.25% per annum. Tranche 1 issue is open for subscription. To subscribe, log on to www.indiabullshomeloans.com. For risk factors, detailed disclaimer and more details, please refer to the shelf prospectus and tranche 1 prospectus available on the websites of SEBI, stock exchanges, company and the lead managers.
Back with closing trades right here in 80 now. It's been a successful launch for Chandrayaan 3. Let's see how the journey from there pans out and whether it makes a successful soft landing on the moon surface or not. For now, the equity markets as well are pretty okay this Friday afternoon. Going into the weekend strong, 19,548 for Nifty futures. Holding out on to the gains at 19,500, 0.5% off a gain coming in for the Nifty as well. IT and the strength in IT across the board is what you want to talk about this afternoon. And then, of course, an iShares, Hero MotoCorp. These are also names which are actually looking good. Vinay Rajani then joins in on the show right now to talk about, what he's making of the market right now. Vinay, you think that adjustment of the weakness in iShares Motors post the launch from Hero Harley as well as Bajaj, is that over now? Is that behind us?
Yeah, so underperformance we can expect from the iShares. No doubt today it has gone up by 3% with the rising volume as the auto sector has been outperforming. So it has fallen after the news and now again started resuming, but it has still not formed a higher top, higher bottom formation, which is not giving that much confidence to us that technical structure has improved. It might be a temporary pullback and again we may see selling at higher level. But the way other stocks are holding like Hero MotoCorp and TVS Motor and Bajaj Auto, they are looking much stronger than iShares Motor. So I think this could be a dead cat bounce or could be a temporary pullback from the lower levels. But again, it is trading below its 50 days exponential average. 50 days exponential moving average is placed at 3435 odd levels for the iShares Motor. So there could be a bounce back up to that level. And again, it could see some supply coming in from that level. So I think still Bajaj Auto, TVS Motor and Hero MotoCorp are placed much better than iShares Motor technically.
We highlight a couple of counters. Kunal, what your view about these two? Z Entertainment, not sure what the news flow is, but that stock is suddenly up as much as 7%. And Just Dial, which reports numbers later today, clearly Street is baking in a great number because that has suddenly spiked 8 to 9%. I'm not sure if I missed the earnings. I don't think I have, but that stock is up around 9%. Kunal, your take, Just Dial as well as Z Entertainment?
So Z is a classical breakout. In fact, Anisha, if you remember, I think a few days back, we pointed out that the pattern for Z, which is lower highs and lower lows, which has been going on since the last, I think, 1.5 odd year for Z, that was broken the moment the stock had broken past about the 200 levels. Now, in the last 1 or 2 days or 2 3 days, the stock consolidated at the 200 mark, a couple of bucks or 2% here and there for the stock in the last 2 3 days. But today seems to be more of a confirmation of a breakout for Z. So I believe now that longer term traders, and especially the position traders, should look to try and start accumulating the stock. There would be a lot of volatility or failed attempts to the stock price getting into a correction every now and then. But I believe eventually once the volatility settles down, the larger trend could be much more on the upside for Z Entertainment. So would be bullish on the stock from current levels as well as any dips closer to the 200 levels. For Just Dial, this could be an interesting turn of events. So the stock was a huge underperformer since the last 2 or 3 years. I remember I think the stock was almost at 1100 mark in 2021 odd. And from there, the stock had fallen down, corrected to 500, 520 mark. So it's now trying to make a comeback. There are few attempts on the indicators also on the monthly charts making a turn around. But I would still believe that maybe we'll wait out for at least another couple of weeks to sense that whether this is just a false breakout for Just Dial or whether this is a big reversal. Because if this is actually a big reversal, the stock can actually surpass the levels of 1100 plus mark very soon. So I'll wait out for a confirmation for Just Dial in the next couple of days, maybe. If the stock happens to see such a similar kind of a price volume day like what we're seeing today, then we can attribute that this could be a big breakout for Just Dial as well.
Point taken. That's about Just Dial as well as Z Entertainment. But let's go across to Abhijit Choksi as well. He's joining us to talk to us about the fundamentals of the market. Abhijit, hi. Thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. I just wanted to begin by talking about the entire capital goods, infrastructure slash manufacturing theme, because it seems like you're quite positive on the likes of EBB, even the entire smart meter play. Tell us which are the stocks that you like from this entire pack.
All right. So last time also we did discuss infra as a theme, because in last 5 years in the union budget, the government has specifically given solid allocation to these sectors, and that trickle down effect is visible. Now in the railway theme, I'm liking RailTel as a stock in the entire railway pack. It has not performed yet. It is a kind of a monopoly play, and plus it has a solid dividend paying history, plus it's a debt free company. So I do bet on RailTel. The market cap is around 4,400 and the current market price is between 135 to 140. It's a good stock for your long term portfolio. And also Hitachi Energy is a solid compounder and a long term play from this sector.
Okay, so these were some of the names from the capital goods space. But what about auto and auto ancillaries? Would you recommend some stocks in that vertical as well?
Right. In auto, I'm betting on Minda Corporation. So I'm liking it for the next 1 to 2 year point of view. So it's a solid EV play as well. The price is around 290 to 300 right now. So for auto, Minda can be a good play.
Okay. Abhijit, just wanted to understand, what is it that you're making about all the disruption that's going on within the two-wheeler space? And after that massive fall that iShares had, when the launch of Bajaj and, the stable of Hero MotoCorp got announced, you think that adjustment is now behind us?
Yes, in general, if you see, whenever economy is growing, the disposable income is rising, and then that income, the first leg which rises is the two-wheeler segment, right? So going forward, I believe that two-wheeler will do extremely well. I do believe that iShares is a good long-term bet going forward.
Coming in as far as some of the auto names are concerned, but in terms of the market, what continues to be buzzing is the entire IT pack, as well as a lot of the other movers. In fact, why don't we get it on board the management bites of the stocks which are buzzing in the trading session today? We of course had the management of MapMy India joining us today. That stock is soaring away in the trading session. GE Shipping is one management that talked about their future outlook. So let's cut across and listen into some of those outlook bites.
We are market leader in East region, and then we'll continue to retain the market leadership in the East region. So the focus will continue to be East and North. Now we are present in South and West. Let's say we have got out of 136 stores, we have 9 stores in South and West taken together. So in the future expansion plan, we will definitely consider South and West as well, because there are opportunities there. But focus will continue to be East and North, because the opportunity is huge.
For the longest time, getting into the defense sector, even into the space sector, was a very, very hard thing. There were very few that could get in. We've been lucky in the last few years as MapMy India to be working with ISRO, who is our customer, but also working with ISRO, who's our partner, with whom we mutually exchange maps and satellite imagery. And of course, we sell IoT devices based on Navik. Even with the defense, geospatial and space is a strategic sector.
Gasoline demand has been pretty strong overall year on year. Jet fuel demand has also grown. While it's still below pre-COVID levels, it's grown pretty well. Yes, we think that that the demand, if it comes back, will come back in a big way. If the market normalizes, for instance, if you just get back to normal, aviation fuel demand, which is back to pre-COVID levels and growing from there, that's going to be a big increase in demand for oil.
Okay, that's the word coming in from a couple of managements which we had on board today. Z, like Anisha was pointing out, that's spurred up very nicely. There's, of course, the entire IT pack. And then names like RBL Bank as well, which have spurred up about almost 7%. But having said that, an SBI, a Kotak, you're not really seeing much of a move there. Reliance has been sitting pretty quiet. Axis Bank is down about 0.7%. And then I want to see what HDFC Bank is up to, considering it's due to report its numbers on Monday itself. In fact, we should try and get in Harsh to tell us what the ET Now poll is penciling in for HDFC Bank's earnings. That also has gone pretty quiet and flat in trade right now. Okay, I think Harsh is here. Harsh, what is your poll penciling in for HDFC Bank?
Net interest income number for HDFC Bank is expected to go up by 23% on a year-on-year basis, expected to come in at 24,000 odd crore. And, essentially, NII is in focus largely because you're seeing some amount of NIM compression. But from HDFC Bank, we're not expecting any pressure or any large pressure on margins, maybe a few basis points of pressure likely. Also, let's quickly move on to operating profit. Operating profit expected to expand by 20%. The differential being made up by higher OPEX, of course. HDFC Bank is investing in branches. 1,500 branches a year is what they're committed to add. But basically, your operating expenses will be elevated. Operating profit, therefore, will go up by 20% roughly on a year-on-year basis. That operating profit number is expected to come in at 18,500 crore. Let's look at the provisions now. Provisions are expected to be at around 4,000 crore. The agri book is going to be in focus. Some commentary around that will be interesting to hear and, of course, understand as to what's happening on the agri front on ground. Also, therefore, your profit after tax is expected to go up by around 20% on a year-on-year basis, expected to come in at roughly 11,000 crore. That's broadly the numbers that are expected. In terms of asset quality, you're expected to see largely stable asset quality come through, maybe a few basis points increase in the GNPA numbers, but roughly we're expecting a stable set of numbers on the asset quality front. With regard to the already disclosed growth numbers, there's very solid growth both on the advances as well as the deposit side. The standalone advances have gone up by 16% year on year. That's already a disclosed number. Deposits as well showing some good amount of resilience. On the deposits front, in fact, it's been quite a strong quarter, 2% plus on a sequential basis. Let's also look at what within the advances front has been growing. It's largely been the CRB book as well as so basically the commercial and rural book, as well as you're also seeing some amount of good growth in retail that's picked up. That's broadly, to sum it up, what we're expecting, what we're penciling in. Of course, some key monitorables is also what we discussed.
Right, that's the word coming in on HDFC Bank, which is going to report its numbers come Monday. But Abhijit, just wanted to understand purely from a market perspective, aside of the stocks that you just talked about, what are your bullish bets?
Yeah, so I am very bullish on EPC engineering sector. L&T would be a good play going forward. And as we discussed, infra and power are my major sectoral bets going forward.
Point taken. And any word as far as HDFC is concerned, HDFC Bank that is now?
Yeah, apparently now it is also, after the merger, it is the market cap is more than Reliance. It has been a solid compounder at 25-30% CAGR. I think going forward, it should continue in the same trajectory. So it's like a safe blue chip investment, I would suggest, in HDFC.
Absolutely. Abhijit, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
out. In fact, since we're on the subject of HDFC Bank, just a short while back, I did chat with Keki Mistry as well. And he got pretty candid, when asked about which is that one cricketer that he would compare HDFC in its previous last 4 decades to now in this merged entity. A fun, candid interview. Here's a slice of that.
I have certain plans, Aisha.
Which
it's
is?
too premature at this point of time
Writing
to
a
talk
book?
about it. No.
No?
Nothing as mundane as that.
Right. So have
More challenging.
more challenging.
Much.
So you're going to continue working. There's no time out for you. No relaxation.
One year.
Okay. So I know you're a cricket buff. If you had to describe HDFC in its standalone avatar before the merger took place, which cricketer comes to your mind?
Sachin Tendulkar.
Sachin Tendulkar?
100%.
The combined entity? Also Sachin. Okay, he's your favorite clearly. Okay.
And
So
before him, Ajit Wadekar and Farooq Engineer.
yeah, of course. What would be your advice to Sashi?
I think what I like about him, or whatever little I've seen of him or met him a couple of times, is humility, humbleness. He's very humble. He never shows that he's somebody. And that's the way I would like people to shape up their lives. Because the day you start thinking you're somebody, that you arrive, that's the day, that's the end of your growth. That from there on, you'll only start people's tapering.
One message to youngsters, who can't stick with a job for even 2 years. You managed to stick it out for 40.
I would say not 1, 2, 3 things. One is you have to have stability. You can't expect success overnight. There is no shortcuts to success. It has to be a long drawn process. Never give up. There will be plenty of failures you'll have in life. It doesn't mean much. Failure is just a way of learning that this is one thing you should not do in life. And third is, whatever you do, don't lose your humbleness. Don't lose your sense of, where you are, that you are just one out
Be
of...
grounded.
Be completely grounded and never compromise on integrity.
Right. I also know you're a Hindi film buff and you love old songs. Only songs. Okay. Old songs. You wouldn't want to sing a line for us, would you?
No, I would say songs which I used to like were Hemant Kumar's Khamoshi, Tum Pukar Lo Tumhara Intezar Hai. I can't even pronounce, my pronunciation is a disaster. That was one. Many. There are umpteen numbers.
If you had to describe your last 40 years at HDFC, which is the song that comes to your mind?
Hum Rahe Hum. I think it was in Punjab.
Okay, that was such a candid chat. Did you get him to sing the song off the record?
Though he did scroll his phone and showed me the YouTube. He's like, this is the song. But yeah.
But a fun chat, and you can catch all of that, of course, on our social media platforms as well. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, take your pick, and you can watch that full conversation. Of course, it will also be interesting from the business point of view. What happens to the merged entity going forward? That's what the entire street wants to know. But what the street also wants to know is what's happening with Z Entertainments. It's actually now up 9%. There's no reason for that. IT, of course, has been on fire since the start of the trading session. So Mastech is up 8%. Emphasis is higher by 7%. A lot of other IT names as well. Vinay, your picks from the IT sector, Kunal has already given his. What about you?
Yeah, so basically I like LTTS, L&T Technology. So I think it has given a breakout from the multiple week, which was this consolidation was held for many weeks and now it has been taken out. So many stocks have moved up today, but LTTS is the stocks which is still far away from its 52-week high and looks convincing at this point of time. So I would suggest going long in the stock like L&T Technology, LTTS. When I saw it was at 4050, now it has risen by 30 rupees from that level. So here also one can go along with a stop loss of 3950. Now on the upside we can expect a target of 4200. So LTTS is the stocks which I like for the short term trading.
Okay, so that's a short-term trading idea coming your way. Kunal, what about you? What's the BTSC idea?
Well, in this kind of a market, would suggest a buy on a couple of names. So 2 calls. Eicher Motors is the first stock. We flagged off this name 2 or 3 days back when the stock was at 3,250 odd levels. So would retrade that buy on Eicher Motors and expecting a huge uptrend from current levels, 3,700 as a target, stop loss at 3,200. And Infosys is the stock which I would pick even after such a kind of a steep rally. I believe that these IT stocks are good to go for more, at least for the near term. So betting on Infosys for a target of 1480, stop loss at 1380.
Those are the top recommendations coming in from Kunal, but time now to slip into a very short break. When we come back, we'll track the last 20 minutes because there's a definite momentum at play, 19,550 at the index.
Great news for those who want to rise with India. Now you can get the full download of business, economics, leaders, interviews, analysis, anecdotes, profits, research, results, revenue, bulls, bears, bonds, markets, and more. Your new high seat of business news is here, etnownews.com.
राजेश थोड़े पैसे चाहिए थे यार।
कल ही मिनी की शादी के लिए ना गोल्ड खरीदा है।
मिनी?
पैसाबाजार.com लोन सही मिलेगा यहीं।
टिप चाहिए, पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा और मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Invest in the share market, earn lakhs with guaranteed returns. This limited period offer is just for you.
Snakes have cameras in their eyes.
How can you believe this nonsense?
Aren't you doing the same thing, Dad? Nobody can promise guaranteed returns in the share market. If you see any such message, mail or ad, you can be sure it's wrong. Such schemes defraud investors and are considered a crime. I've explained this to you so many times.
हाउसवार्मिंग पार्टी अभी से?
अभी तो घर डिसाइड करना है।
तभी तो पार्टी में सबको बुलाया है प्रॉपर्टी के एडवाइस के लिए। वकील अंकल, एनसाइक्लोपीडिया रोहन, वो सोसाइटी की प्रॉपर्टी एक्सपर्ट है विमी आंटी और वास्तु वाले मामा जी अंजलि मासी।
रियल एक्सपर्ट से एडवाइस लो ना।
You?
मैजिक ब्रिक्स फॉर प्राइस ट्रेंड्स, लोकेलिटी रिव्यूज, लीगल असिस्टेंस और सारी एक्सपर्ट एडवाइस। मैजिक ब्रिक्स, प्रॉपर्टी सही और अब सर्विसेज सभी।
Come what may, with Apollo Tires, have a wonderful day.
Attention startups. Reach 25 crore people well within your budget. Advertise on 10 TV channels in one shot. No TVC required. Brand starter pack starting from just 1 lakh rupees. Brand Surge, the special marketing starter pack for startup brands. For more details, visit our website brandsurge.co.in or write to us at brandsurge@timesgroup.com. Times Network, now on nothing.
पापा, सोचती हूँ फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी से पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन करूँ।
हो जाएगा।
ट्यूशन फीस?
हो जाएगा।
अकोमोडेशन?
हो जाएगा।
और ट्रैवल एक्सपेंसेस?
हो जाएगा by God's grace.
Now I want to see God.
हो जाएगा।
मैं दिखाऊं? That's my God.
Union Bank Education Loan से सब हो जाएगा।
Focusing on customer insights is the key to increasing market share. And it's crucial that we learn from the leaders with the leading specialized MBA course, 40 plus CEOs to train and groom you from Bennett University. So, dream big.
With more than 50% of the population under the age of 29, India is currently one of the youngest countries in the world. The Indian government has launched various programs to help the nation's young population strengthen their skills. Adani Foundation, through Adani Skill Development Centers, Saksham is offering over 75 hybrid and online skill development courses to help make youth in India skilled and employable, giving them a secure and prosperous future. Watch this special episode of Rising India Empowered Planet Skill Development of the Youth of India at these times.
Mom, I'll be late tonight as well.
You work too hard. Work smart like me.
Why? Won a lottery, is it?
You can say so. In 3 years, my money will double. I'm investing in a great scheme in the share market. High returns guaranteed.
Your high returns aren't Karan Arjun for them to definitely come to you.
Meaning?
Dad, there's risk involved in the share market. Nobody can promise guaranteed high returns. It's illegal to do so.
Really?
Yeah. And by the way, being greedy is not smart.
Back with closing trades right here on ET Now. Let's also welcome on board Shivani Sarkar Kurian and talk about what she's making of the market right now. And Shivani, have to talk about IT. Does it come as a surprise that the market is actually willing to give the sector the benefit of doubt that maybe the worst could be behind with Q1?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. So, of course, IT as a sector has been underperforming for quite a while. So, if you look at the numbers that have come out from three major IT companies, the numbers by and large by themselves have been largely in line with estimates. Management commentary too has been somewhat cautious in terms of calling out improvement, at least in the near term. I think one key factor that really stood out was that the deal win trajectory in most of the companies that have reported numbers have remained fairly resilient. So what that possibly is showing us is that while client decision-making cycles have been elongated and conversion from deal to revenue is also taking time, but overall, the momentum, at least in terms of the medium-term outlook from most of the clients, remains fairly positive and remains intact. And therefore, that's why you're starting to see numbers in terms of the deal wins remaining largely intact. Near term, of course, even in the next quarter, we will possibly have to contend with muted growth outlook. And it is possible maybe towards the second half of the year, the expectation at this point in time is that we will start seeing possibly some improvement in terms of the revenue momentum. If you look at the way the sector has behaved, the overall mid caps clearly have outperformed the large caps. From a valuation perspective, we clearly find that large caps are considerably better placed, both in terms of the current operating environment as well as from a valuation angle. And therefore, in terms of our overall pecking order in the sector, it's large caps over mid caps. In mid caps, at current valuations, given the kind of run up that we have seen, we would be somewhat selective.
Selective when it comes to the IT names, but the market itself is at a fresh record high. Of course, it's been rallied by the IT stocks, as we were pointing out, a 4.5% gain coming in at the index level. But look at that sharp move in the Nifty itself. It's fresh record high for the Nifty, 19,570 almost as far as the tick goes on Nifty 50. Sensex also too, rallying and powering ahead with a gain of what, 500 to 600 points if I have it right. So yes, 520 points. And bulk of that rally has actually happened in the last 15 minutes itself. Vinay, your sense on the market, is it still in the buying zone or it's getting a lot more toppish now?
So market for the first time, it is closing above 19,500 mark. So previously we saw that it was tested in the intraday session, but somehow we got a close below 19,500. So today we are breaking out from that consolidation closing basis. So yesterday we saw that it went up and again came down. Nifty saw a fall of 180 points from the high, but today it is closing on a strong wicket, which is a very good sign. And as the underperformer sector like IT has now become the outperformer, I think this is this can rally can extend from further, and we may see a upper level from here. So around 200 to 300 points further rally we can see in the Nifty from here. So yes, looking very strong on the charts. Metal, IT, pharma, auto, all sectors are buzzing and giving good movement. So I think sector rotation will continue to be there. And the good thing is that Bank Nifty, which has not performed, can do well in the coming time. So I think Bank Nifty can see some short covering from here because it has reached near its strong support of 44,500 and bounced back sharply in the intraday session. So I think this can continue in the coming week. We can expect Bank Nifty to also participate in the rally.
Yes, surely, and it's now participating quite a bit. Remember, Bank Nifty was underperforming when we started this show at 2:30. Bank Nifty was actually in the red. And look at that sharp spike. If you can pull up the candlestick, let's try and do that of what kind of bars are forming as far as the green universe is concerned for Bank Nifty. because there's been a sharp recovery in the last 20 minutes itself, from red all the way to green, with a 200-point gain is what we have seen in a matter of few minutes. HDFC Bank numbers, of course, coming out on Monday. Maybe the street is banking on that. But let's talk about TTK Prestige as well, because that stock is making rounds in the dealer room. What exactly is the news flow? Sharad will tell us all of that.
Well, in focus, we are having TTK Prestige, and what we are hearing from the dealers is there has been a sustained buying from a DI for the last 2 trading sessions. The volumes as well as the deliveries have also been on the higher side. Now, already invested players, as per the shareholding pattern, they include names such as SBI Mutual Fund, Axis Mutual Fund, and also Nalanda Group. Now, the stock itself, if you look at it from the 2022 highs, the stock has actually corrected by 26% while there has been a slight rally coming in from March lows by almost 10 to 12%, but a sustained buying is being seen on an institutional level when it comes to TTK Prestige. Now, there are certain important triggers also for the stock which should be in focus. First is the expansion in the non-South markets. Apart from that, it's expected that inorganic acquisitions are expected to be completed in the coming months, and importantly, going ahead, as per Motilal Oswal, an EBITDA CAGR of 23% growth is expected over the next 2 years itself. And also, the management has stated in a recent con call that they are expecting market share gains coming in the e-commerce segment.
Okay, that's why TTK Prestige is the one which is in focus, as is the rest of the market as well, holding out very strongly as we speak right now, 100 points higher. And yeah, I think today is the first time that we managed to close at a record high as well, maybe. Yeah,
yes, so it's fresh record highs at the index level on an intraday basis, and now we are going around 19,600, which will be the first time ever if we hit that mark. But Shibani, quickly, your take as far as the entire consumption basket is concerned. Tomorrow we'll get the numbers from Avenue Supermarts as well, and the expectation is that maybe the valuations are getting a bit toppish there, and it's better to get into some other discretionary names, maybe the likes of multiplexes or QSR names.
So within the consumption basket, what we have continued to see is that the overall consumption momentum and demand has been K-shaped, where clearly the premium segment has performed better while the rural segment has been lagging. Also, within the discretionary consumption basket, at the margin, especially in segments such as, for example, durables, we have started to see some slowdown in terms of the demand momentum. And therefore, if you look at the overall consumption space at this point in time between discretionary and staples, our preference has been for staples. A couple of things here. One, of course, on the rural demand side, and this is something that we've discussed on your channel before, that rural demand momentum seems to be improving at the margin. What we have started seeing is that after a long period of time, real rural wages have started to move up, and therefore that should hopefully support the rural demand revival, albeit at a fairly gradual pace. So we are not expecting a sharp recovery, but at least things seem to be bottoming out. Secondly, from a staples perspective, if you look at margins should start to improve, primarily because of input cost pressures coming off. And therefore, we believe that at this point in time, staples is preferred over the discretionary consumption space.
Preferring staples over discretionary, a bit different than what we are hearing from a lot of other market guests, but yes, you have your own reasons for doing that as well. For now, it is JBM Auto, which is high 11%. Craftsman Automation is doing well. In the last few minutes, we have seen a perk up on First Source as well. In fact, IT as a pack has been really strong, and that's the biggest mover today as well as this week itself. Why not listen into the commentary coming in from the managements at TCS, HCL as well as Wipro to give you more color whether what the street is banking on in terms of the second half recovery is something that they are also talking about or not.
Overall, you saw that our TCV continues to be very strong. Our order book is very strong. So our long-term prognosis is good. Short-term, we need to see, clients manage their budget based on the uncertainty, and we will work on that.
Demand environment as such is looking good. I'm not seeing any problems with that. The kind of deals that we are signing up, they're all long-term committed deals.
If you look at our commentary last quarter and even this quarter, pipeline has grown significantly. And when pipeline grows, we have different ways of evaluating our pipeline. And the pipeline is quite quite uniform across different geographies, different verticals, and there is some level of confidence in some of them working out our way.
The point is that it will be higher than 17% for sure. Otherwise, obviously the 18 to 19 band becomes even further away to meet.
It continues to be a market where, there's demand. There are deals in the market. We are closing more deals than we typically would have closed some years ago. We are closing large deals, and at the same time, the volume of discretionary spend has reduced.
From a margin range standpoint, as you've seen, we have kept margin in a stable territory in Q1, and we will keep the margin in this band as we move forward.
Well, the latest entrant into the index, LTIMindtree as well, is going to be reporting its numbers first as a Nifty company. Anisha, what can we expect?
The expectations are a bit muted, but not the stock price. Today it's higher by 4%. But management did indicate in the last interaction itself that it's going to be a soft start to the year. So the street was expecting Q1 is going to be a bit slower. And of course, as we head deeper into FY24, things will get better. But for now, we're expecting a dollar revenue growth of around 0.6%. Rupee revenue is expected to jump up by 0.9% because there's a bit of a currency tailwind. As far as the constant revenue growth is concerned, we're expecting a growth of around 0.6%. Remember, BFSI is something which has been weak for the company. Other companies have also reported a bit of a muted performance from BFSI, so we'll watch out for that. And high tech too, the management was expecting a bit of a bounce back because the base is low. But other companies haven't done well in high tech, so I have my doubts whether that bounce back will play out or not. As far as the EBIT margin is concerned, there will be an improvement this time around, a 40 basis point improvement, because last quarter there was the impact of the merger cost. This time there might be a very small impact of the merger cost, plus the operational synergies will come into play. So all of that will augur well for the margins, and profitability is seen 7% higher. The most important thing to watch out from earnings will be whether the management commits and continues with their double-digit revenue growth guidance or not. That's what they had said at the end of last quarter. But now with the uncertainty coming in, whether that is something they are able to hold on to or not will be the big thing to watch out for. So that was about LTIMindtree. But let's get some technical strategies from our chartists. Vinay, what's the BTSC trade?
I think the sector like metal can also participate. Today, we have seen a good movement in these stocks like Hindalco and Tata Steel. And NMDC is one stock which was not performed previously. And now it seems to have broken out from the long consolidation. And now it has surpassed its the important moving average resistance also. So NMDC can be traded long. I think NMDC around 112.51 can go long with a stop loss of 110. And on the upside, we can expect a target of 116. So this is one stock I like from the metal. Another one is the Hero MotoCorp. So flag kind of pattern is there and breakout is seen, and over primary trend is up. So considering overall setup, Hero MotoCorp can also be, we can go long in that. So stop loss should be 3055 and target can be kept at 3190.
Well, it's a picture-perfect market. There is no better way of describing that. 145 points higher is how we're shutting shop for the week. The spot Nifty is almost on its way to make it to that 19,600 mark. Already at 19,620 for the Nifty futures as we speak. Kunal, it's moving with a whole lot of pace, the index alone.
Yeah, to put it in a very lighter kind of a manner, I didn't know what to call, whether Chandrayaan 3 or whether the indices. I think it was a phenomenal uptrend. The last 1 hour was completely led by the IT majors. So, I think it's been so many times that, after so much fun that we've seen the IT index in the top 4 names actually contributing more than 100 to 120 points. So I was looking at the contribution plate and TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra. These 4 stocks were contributing, I think, at one point around 120, 130 points on the index, when the Nifty itself was up just 120, 130 points. So that's something which was exceptional, for the index today. But again, hands down, what has actually happened is in the last 1 hour or so, many underperforming stocks, the private sector banking stocks, for example, are making a comeback. The Nifty PSU banking index has made a very good comeback. Auto stocks like Hero MotoCorp, etc., have made a comeback. Z has made a comeback. So I think it's been comeback of sorts for the markets, and this day could probably establish a major support for the Bank Nifty specifically. So I would expect that we could now get into a big breakout phase on the Nifty, and that consolidation which has been going on for the last 8 or 9 trading sessions, that finally could probably be at an end.
Witnessing a breakout, so 19,600 is almost there. If we do break out, guys, there's a chance of 20,000 happening soon as well. So let's watch out for that. But Shibani, what's your take as far as the market goes? Do you think that 20,000 can come in a hurry, or one has to wait for the earnings season to play out, the monsoons to play out before we see those higher levels?
So, obviously it's been a great run for the markets. And what has clearly stood out for us has been the fact that despite a lot of fear and trepidation, earnings have actually held up so far. And earnings has been one of the key drivers for our markets, apart from, of course, flows and the improving macro environment. Now, a couple of things that we have seen is that, even at a broader market level, the earnings revision cycle appears to be bottoming out. And therefore, if earnings are able to hold up, and we are able to see delivery on earnings. So if you look at Nifty, for instance, over the next couple of years for FY24 and 25, the expectations are of mid to high teens earnings growth. And if that earnings growth is delivered, I think then markets can move up. However, valuations clearly are above long-term averages, and therefore that is something that we would have.
Sure, Shibani, sorry to interject there, but the market is just closing last 30 seconds. So let's quickly read out what's happening. Very close to that 19,600, a record high level today and a record high closing at that. Almost 172-point gain and record close for Sensex as well, above the mark of 66,128. Very strong market breadth as well. So the mid cap and the small cap index, that too was showing quite a bit of momentum. But the star of the trading session today is nothing but the Nifty IT, because that index is up over 4% in the trading session. Whether it's a TCS and HCL Tech and Infosys, Tech Mahindra, LTI Mindtree, pick up any of these names, even Wipro for that matter, after disappointment, anywhere between 2 to 5% higher, and that was your star performer today. Bank was a soft start. It was trading in the red for most part, but by the end of the trading session, that also managed to join the party. You had names like PNB, AU Bank, small finance banks, etc., as well as Bandhan Bank, which are all doing well in the trading session. And this is despite Axis Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank being on the back foot. From the broader market, Craftsman Automation, JBM Auto, Mastic, Aptus Value Housing, Z Entertainment, Just Dial, these were the stocks which were doing quite well. Losers, yes, there were some in the trading session. Orient Electric, Mazgaon Dog, and from the index level as well, there were a few losers as far as that is concerned. We had names like HDFC Life, Power Grid, Dr. Reddy's as the top losers. So overall, a great close for the market, a great close to the Friday. Looks like the market was quite excited for the weekend, ended at the highest point that we have ever had. With that, wrap on this edition of Closing Trades. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you come Monday.